Sanhok. Hopefully this time we'll be able to see it all the way through. So we're once again into the plane. At the moment, I'm looking at teams that have potentially slightly underperformed what we might have expected from them. And at this stage, the big standout for me at the moment is Bigatron, who we kind of talk about quite a lot because of their old prestige, but they have now had so many changes that it's fairly new as a roster, right? They keep that Luxy-Zuxy duo, but it's all kind of changed, and they haven't really showed us anything so far.
I did have a really pleasant conversation with Flame, who's the coach of BTR. You know, he'd sent off Zuxi to play in some of these, I would say, third-party tournaments, honestly, which I'll get back to shortly. We currently have R8 and SGG on our screens, but I think that what he was saying is it's really brought his motivation back up into the fold and given him something to strive towards. So Zuxi already over our angle was doing a load of good work, and I would love to see BTR back on form, where I think they really do have something to prove now, where it's no longer a case of turn up, you know, you get the fans cheering for you, which they always do, of course, but now at least we'll get to see BTR trying to make something happen, trying to sit on top once again.
Smoked. LGD lose the player there. First blood for break.
Yeah, the Hex bag's still in there, bro. I mean, it's
still going.
Even if you have a remake, the curse is ever present.
Goodness me, DRS loses players. These auto shotties, not even the DBSs, it's just anything that can pop out that shot at a fast rate seems to be winning.
I mean, so far, in a lot of these tournaments, we've seen the DBS, the auto shotty, have a really big influence in a lot of these matches. We're practically back to exactly what we started with last game.
Yeah.
Everyone's like in a general agreement. So if you went down, you went down. Go give the point over to whoever it was who eliminated you and go from there. Razy steps up, but does get knocked down, and Calci not able to go for the refrag there. The barrel absolutely blasting. That thing fires quick and fast with a very, very high damage count on each bullet, so terrifying to come into close range. Uzi though.
This time, he's got backup. DRS gonna lose a player, do get a knock over towards Logan. The backup isn't quite there for DRS, so they aren't gonna commit to that. Prestige for R8 was able to skirt around the hills and focus that attention over towards the knock, try and keep that one going. It looks like there was that res coming through. Box have moved up to another LGD player here. Feels like they know there's someone here, nade in hand. And Bentu, yeah, absolutely they know there's a player in there.
Yeah, a bit rough. SCG on the other hand have lost one player. It was their initial knock back up on his feet, but R8 have the significant advantage of a 4v3, and it will most likely be SGG leaving Paris Resort behind. That does mean moving out in towards the arms of MTech Storm, who might be able to find themselves a cheeky couple of knocks as they make their exit. So SGG definitely not the way they wanted to start out their game here.
All the C's. None of the teammates right now put to sleep. Night, LGD down to 2.
I mean, Box has been just coming like waves against CC at the moment. Not able to really hold back the C itself. LGD down to just 2 players. This has really not been the best of starts for the tournament here in PMGC for LGD. And obviously, this is 3 games in a row now where LGD has had some pretty significantly bad games. And remember, if you're in that bottom 5, sorry, you were just immediately eliminated from the entirety of the tournament here in PMGC.
Not favourable. Bad for business. You want to be climbing out of there as fast as you can. And you've got to remember, all of these teams are teams that dominated in their respective regions. So to see them getting punished so far is really quite an interesting dynamic. I mean, to be fair, it is only 2 games, and we did have a military finish as one of those 2 games, and then you might have a bad Miramar. It's kind of fair that some of these teams could have had a full start here. But for teams like Influence Chemin, who have capitalized beautifully, Nick Galaxy 33, it's going to be really, really great to get that relief under the belt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can excuse any of it, though, honestly. With, Influence Chemin showed us that beautifully over on their angle, right? What was it? 15 kilometers over, and the next best was like 10,000 meters traveled. I think for Influence Chairman, they certainly took their game to the next level. They were like, look, we might not be on Sosnovka, but we're a team that can get down there and set ourselves up beautifully to get down towards that position. So I think for Influence Chairman, they showed us that, you know, it doesn't matter if you don't have the best position. It just matters the skill level of the team and how clean your rotates are. So when you get this level of play in PMGC, there's really nothing where you can be like, well, the circle didn't shift in our favor. Oh, well, you know, it wasn't our best rotate, or we got held out. These aren't things that should necessarily hold you back if you're a team that can make it towards that grand finals and can take one of those podium finishes.
Team's already starting to move, and I think even now is where we might see some of the impact of the changes to the circles here, Blank. Because before you'd see teams leaving themselves out, gathering a lot of meds, playing in the blue for the first 10 minutes of the game. Maybe even a little bit longer. But now you can see teams looking to actively move forwards, and I think that's going to cause a little bit more conflict, certainly around the crossing points, if you have to head southwest.
Yeah, you could certainly play in the blue a lot longer in phase 1 over in Sanhok. It's still not as egregious as people might think it would be. It's only when you really get to that late game where it's like, well, you really can't stay out here. But it will force more teams in, but there certainly will be teams still looting. Just with the amount of compounds available in close proximity here on Sanhok, it is worth it to move to a lot of these positions and pick up that loot available to themselves. I8 though, spot down towards 4 rivals who are sending it through. They lose a player out the back in Puri. Fortunate stuff there. Appy and Voki move up towards the compound, and now I8 in a great position to handle the rest of 4 rivals.
Oh dear, sorry, I've just had the most egregious sneeze. It's really got me. But yeah, no, it's not gone well for me. Put it up the top of the hill though. Oh, under pressure, not gone well for him either. Ghost looking for that spray, getting the line up. The team shots are good. Buradam finds Pemburu though. That's a little bit of a consolation prize there, and potentially even going to be able to get the res around the top of the cave crater. Southwest shift again, going to be lining up on that southwest island.
It's pretty much all the way down towards the southwest here. Mad Bulls might have a good start for themselves as they get out of Painan, but again surrounded by a lot of teams at the moment. Titan obviously in front of them, who you know, I think we'll kind of have to know them as just this team that is the juggernaut of the lobby with just the knight armor. It's very difficult to get past them without having to joust. They certainly will knock you off your horse if you're not careful.
Team Queso being a little bit quiet. In some of these early games. We'll have to try and step up a little bit further. 9 points total, so not out of it, but haven't really had an impact, certainly not like their America's compatriots.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a rough entrance for them into Americas. So you can kind of see why they might be taking it a little bit more careful into this tournament. But again, like Jason was saying on the desk, which is a really good point, although this is technically our group stage, you are having these very short stints of gameplay. They're almost their own mini championships, randomized by our group selection, so you have to just work with what you get. This requires a lot of analysis from the back end of teams, as well as analysis coaches working to figure out the rotations, what's the best move inwards. For Mad Bulls, certainly a team that excels at that type of thing, so we might see a big change for this team come tomorrow when they have figured out exactly how they want to play this one out, what kind of rotations they want to make, and today is just a little bit more slow, careful, cautious, trying to figure out exactly how they want to move through on these circles itself.
I mean, we've sung the praises quite a lot of Pokemolodoy coming in as coach for Mad Bulls, right? Coming in with a lot of experience in Battle Royale and seemingly giving a lot of that passion and a lot of that power, experience and knowledge over towards the roster. Obviously coming third place in the European Championship. Mad Bulls, the highest seeded representative from the region in this group. So it's really good to see that, and that is the sort of thing that we want to see more of when it comes to these consistent lead phases.
Scry on the off angle will find at least once from I8 as they make their way across the river, and this was a trap that's been sprung perfectly, carefully, waiting for I8 to get a little bit too close. Box not going full on the approach, but Bensu with a lovely off angle will find at least one more, and I think I8 might just crumple under the pressure of Box, who have found themselves a very nice compound to hold out teams on.
Box is a team that does love to hold in these in buildings in general. Very good at holding that sort of area as they clear out anyone else who tries to step on up. Playing on their coastal side, it's going to give them a little bit better sight lines to protect a lot of their flank. They can pay attention to just one direction if they don't want to move further in, which they will have to on the next.
IE7 here from R8, finding at least one player from Team Queso. These guys vacated from the Confluence compound, but unfortunately left one of their players behind as they got knocked on the way out. And now R8 has to figure out how they would like to move into this map. Infinity over towards the northwest, actually still making their way down from the northwest island, but these circles are coming thick and fast at the moment. Next one shifts further down towards the southwest with Titan, Enigma Galaxy and Madball still holding in. Influence Chemin looking to move through Painan though, so this will be a really big test for Madballs, and although we have sung their praises so far, I still think that there is time for them to prove themselves, and I'm not 100% convinced as of yet. Influence Chemin, on the other hand, looking extremely good coming out from the Americas Championships. Team Queso struggling slightly, and Titans obviously showing us that they have what it takes in the PMGC after that last Miramar match.
Yeah, really solid stuff from them, but they have one more to go and they're playing in a good position for it. Shots over towards 4 rivals, but Titans are already picking up those points. It'll be difficult to sneak those away. Enigma Galaxy again, playing spread in a central area, as they were in the previous game. 4 rivals take some shots from them. 4 rivals having a tough time of it in the center area.
I mean, this is a team that has just sent it in, right? I mean, they were harried by a lot of separate teams, including I8, who unfortunately met their demise to Box over on that southeast edge. 4 rivals just sent it in and now have been left down to just that one player. S2G obviously did not have the best of starts over in Paradise Resort and have been trying to restabilize ever since. Influence Chairman, though, spot them as they move in. They will lose one player there and an instant flush as well. Now just Razy alive with a smoke, trying to provide himself a little bit of ingress here towards the rest of the lobby, but it is Team Queso now standing in his way.
Crazy last survivor for S2G, the PMGC point qualifier from the Turkish region, one of the two. Will be having a tough time of it, but 21 points already on today's games. They've done well. They've kept themselves in that conversation, which is good to see, because we were a little bit worried about them coming into this. Maybe a little bit less worried about them than Besiktas, who came in after a pretty shocking performance in the European Championships. They still qualified on PMGC points, but they're not in this group, so S2G going to have to take up that mantle. And they're proving themselves so far, I'd say.
It's been okay. I mean, they are running into similar problems they have done in the past, though, and we thought that this would be something that they would adapt to or fix coming in towards PMGC, which is just a lot of these engagements happening all the time. And yes, we know that they are a fantastic team when it comes to those team fights, but on the other hand, they take a little bit too many of these engagements, and they're a little bit too slapdash on a lot of these rotates, which leads to them getting shot by several different teams, as you've already seen this game and last game. And you'd feel like this is something that they would improve on. They have time to improve on. And by time, I mean 3 days. It's not a lot, and you really don't want to, as one of the forerunners for the Turkish region, go out in your group stage when only 5 teams are being eliminated.
Not ideal. LGD, they have been suffering so far. 10 points total. No elims this game. They We'll be moving forward with 2. Buradam 3 players. Southeast side. They were the southeast side. They swing all the way around to the south side of Sami. Actually pretty close to LGD, so they have to fight out of it. But the circle does go their way, so a lot of that urban environment is still left in. And Box are going to move into it from the east. Team Queso under pressure from Titans, and we'll go down to them.
Killer from DRS. There's a nasty bit of damage coming through from Scry. Mad Bulls making their way down, trying to avoid a lot of that conflict on that northern edge. I think Mad Bulls are coming into a group or an environment now where, you know, any team can be the end of them, and just avoiding teams is maybe not enough at this point in time. But spots out Box have been making the long dash, and this is just not something that's really available anymore. You need to be proactive, getting into these circles nice and early with the amount of damage it's currently doing to you. And with the speed at which these circles are popping as well, if you're left out in the cold and you've been waiting too long to maybe try and pick up a couple of these eliminations as teams come in, you're going to suffer for it, just like Influence Chairman currently are right now, and that might just be them out.
Influence Chairman, they are indeed eliminated on the northeast side. The Titans pick up another dominating card. A chance to chase, because remember that Titans are currently sat second place behind Influence Chairman. There is quite a buffer, but with a strong finish, with a good game, the Titans very much have the potential to leapfrog that, take the top spot. If they can play this one as well as the last, it should be fairly simple for them. They're moving through the infinity right now. Bombardments laying down the ordnance over towards the back lines. Gontani trying to hold them off to slow down that flanking position, but it's Newsy up front taking the fight and will not be able to bear the pressure. Aza around the bottom of the rock will go down, and Gontani gets the flush, leaving Titan at 3. There's the final nail onto Aza's position, leaving Gontani high and dry. Teak will be a little bit better into that fight. Has the backup. 9 eliminations now coming through from Titan.
Yeah, that's an unreal result coming through from Titans in this game. It's beautiful to see a lot of open ground in the middle of this actual circle itself. Enigma Galaxy obviously playing down towards Sanhok on the Sami side for so long. They've been able to pick themselves out a very juicy spot in the circle to try and translate into a big win here. BTR, though, still going. Made their slow but steady movement from that northwest edge. Deciding not to play northeast anymore, as was very typical for BTR in the past. Now looking to pick up as many members as possible and clear out this side of the map. Gem Foster does spot some of the players from Buram. Tiger is first to be noticed, but my name in the back there could be a problem.
Crossing up Tiger up to the rock face, but we'll have to move further to get into the circle. Pretty much the only route is right into the waiting arms of Bigatron. Jen Foster close, will be first to take that fight. Misery moving north for Bigatron on the southwest side. Quiet so far in the game, no eliminations, but now they have to face Tiger. Taken low very, very quickly. Nade not going to answer with any damage. Zuxi up the top, hits the deck for the spray. It's good for 1. That's the zone taking down Tiger though. And now the challenge is for the fight. They will find both. And that is going to be Buradam eliminated in 8th position. Bigatron have the southwest, but Nigma have the buildings.
Yeah, really well done from Bigatron there. Took that one nice and slow. I mean, this is where Bigatron needs to get some momentum going. And I mean, any momentum is good momentum for this team, where a lot of times we have seen BTR just fall flat on their face before. This is looking a lot nicer. It is a little bit late to the party in terms of time to step up on game 3, but it's better than nothing so far. 8 points, it's not terrible here for the team of BTR, but there is still much further to go. Titan finds Monkey. Effect to the side. Shouldn't be able to pick this player up. They are right on the edge of the circle. It might take a little bit of time. There will be need from Skillsers or Zerix to find themselves one of these picks.
Luxy, hello, challenge, and he pulls down the veil over Suki's eyes for Luxy to drop on down. That's twin synergy.
That is twin synergy there. It's what you like to see, and I mean, LGD must have been incredibly confused. Titan, though, Puncher once again, the MVP from that last match, able to find effect as well. Mad Bulls not going how they would like. 3v2 now with a 12 elimination count, which is gargantuan here for Titan. It's looking good.
It really, really is, with 6 teams remaining as well. Likely too soon to follow. All of these teams have been crunched in. This is the effect of the zones changing. Delta.
I mean, that's over for Mad Bulls.
That's it. Get spotted up from the grass. A little snake ruins the day. 5 teams remain now blank. 2 teams with 1 player, DRS and MTech Storm.
Real unfortunate result there coming through from Mad Bulls. Had a great position for that entire match, but again, it just feels like Titan's got the eagle eye on this match, able to spot these players out from afar. 3 players remain though. Enigma Galaxy on 4, BTR on 4 similarly, but Titans, you cannot count them out just yet. MTech, just the 1 player. Jem Foster hasn't spotted them yet. Zuxi also unaware of this position.
There's no way they should be able to know about this. They will have heard the shots a little bit further north. They won't know the specific position. So they might be worried, but no one's in a position. If Jem Foster gets spotted here and taken down, that's it, but maybe waited a little bit too long. Both Zuxi and Luxi low, 2 players from Titan taken down. That's Enigma Galaxy popping off. That's coming through from Freak. I don't think Delta popped any shots there.
Didn't even have a hand in it. I was surprised. I thought he got a really good lineup. But incredible stuff there coming through Enigma Galaxy. They have a really good spot within this circle.
Luxi in danger. Will be spotted, sprayed from the back. Will be taken down. Cannot get a heal in response, but Luxi leg swept. Enigma Galaxy now 4 players alive, staying up into the last 3 teams as Titan go down.
That is a nasty nade up towards Misery. Zuxi has to bring Luxi back up to his feet now, and Jem Foster has to at least find 1 of these knocks. Delta can still be problematic here for the rest of the team. Zuxi cannot move any further down towards his teammate. Has to look up towards Ralph. Jem Foster even taking a bit of damage. Delta might be able to slip himself into a 2nd place. Luxi flushed. Zuxi out in the blue. Maybe has to move a bit forward, but he's ticking so hard.
And there's an aid from Hamodi over the top as well. That is going to be the flush coming through. Enigma Galaxy, they played into the buildings. They got a central position. Nobody really had the opportunity to move up, let alone went for it. In this scenario, Jem Foster, a sliver of HP. That nade should do it. Hang on a minute. Delta might have found the crossfire. Nade over the top. And that is 2 teams remaining. Delta is there. Last player. Not healing this time. Enigma Galaxy. Don't even spot him. Not just yet. He's right there. Ralph, no. Oh dear. Now he's going to go down to the blue zone. And they will keep it on going. Enigma Galaxy take the chicken